Hello! The CIB, Culinary Institute of Barcelona, was born with the intention of giving an answer to the question, how should school be? And as a result of the reflection around this question and thinking of a school that really prepares for the future, the CIB was designed and built. Educational systems were created to be applied in the Industrial Revolution with the aim of creating useful workers and professionals for the needs of the 19th century. They have hardly changed since then. In such a volatile, ambiguous, complex, and uncertain environment that we face today, the already popular acronym VUCA, educational systems must orient themselves towards the new reality and prepare our students to face the multiple, constant, and huge paradigm shifts that will characterize the 21st century. The future must be constant to analyze, to prepare our young people in the process of change and make them their protagonists instead of their victims. And how we do it? The CIB has been designed under three key points: creativity, innovation, and the future vision. Creativity is the tool that allows you to find better solutions before others. Innovation is what allows you to be ahead in the market. If you don't innovate, you will go behind those who do. And the world is changing at a dizzying speed. If you don't know how to adapt, the future will crush you. In schools, creativity is dismissed. Only skills in math, language, or history is rewarded, when they should be all in the same level. Children have the capacity for innovation and extraordinary talents that are wasted. Ken Robinson, the one who said that, has been an inspiration to us from the beginning. Creativity must be as important in education as literacy. If not, we will not be able to solve the challenge and the problems as complex and unknown as those that come our way. Innovation is the driving force of development and progress. We train our students to be able to innovate, to do things that nobody has done before, and we do it through design thinking methodology, among others. And in relation with the future vision, humanity has never faced so many changes as in this new era that is just beginning. These are changes that affect all social, economic, cultural, technological, health, political, and values spheres. Preparing our young people for those drastic, frequent, and simultaneous changes is a priority for the CIB, because we are very aware that in this new era, those who do not know how to adapt to them will experience it dramatically as victims. We must prepare our students to be true positive catalysts in their work teams, reliable, efficient leaders, better of lasting values, and above all, capable and anticipating changes, because they are excellent observers and analysts of their observations. At the CIB, we look to the future in a transversal way, as a priority in the training of our students, so that they are protagonists of their new world and not its passive witnesses or its victims. In many schools, and especially in secondary and higher education, they have only dealt with transmitting knowledge to their students and have forgotten to train them in other three areas, which at the CIB we call skills, attitudes, and possibilities. We do not teach them to copy, we do not teach to replicate, and we do not teach receipts. We teach to create, and we teach to solve problems. And we do it with a three-dimensional paradigm that relates the why, the context, the what, the product, and the how, technology. For example, if we take a very specific product, a carrot, we can think about the most appropriate technique or technology to treat this product depending on the context. A wedding banquet, a lunchtime menu in a restaurant in the center of Barcelona, or an expedition to the Himalayas. They are not the same. And with these three-dimensional axes, give the students absolute freedom to create with infinite possibilities. The depth of each learning must be defined and adjusted in the timeline of each program and be realistic with the objective of its professional application in the 21st century. Most of the taxonomic models no longer fit in this objective because they are conceived in a reality that is already obsolete. And for this, we have created our own interpretation. At the CIB, we designed an active learning ecosystem. Blended learning increases active learning opportunities and extends them beyond the classroom. In these learning models, it's important to consider their application holistically. The change is driven by pedagogy. Technology must be carefully integrated as a means and not an end, and take full advantage of the impact of learning spaces. Because these three dimensions are interrelated, they must be addressed consistently. When it comes to technology, Face-to-face connection remains essential for successful learning, and technology is a facilitator that face-to-face interaction by bringing higher-level cognitive learning closer. Integrating technology into the classroom requires flexibility and activity-based spatial planning. The limits of the space are blurring. The space must be designed to capture and transmit information. Pencils and pixels will coexist. The CIB is located at the neighborhood of La Verneda in Barcelona and occupies an all-industrial warehouse that has allowed us to completely redo it to respond to this vision and intention, and to look for different types of scenarios for different learning experiences to take place. Next, we will see how all this is aligned in the design of learning experiences and the use of spaces. We believe that schools should reinvent themselves. And already in the most initial phase of the CIB project, we asked ourselves about this issue and analyzed how a school should be, morphologically, in its contents, methods, etc. As a result of the research, we deduced that the school must be the lever for the student's personal development, and that it must abandon the stigma of the temple of knowledge, and change it for the horizontal, synchronous, multidirectional, based on doubt, and that we could only achieve by changing our gaze towards the school itself, facilitating the tools and radically changing the traditional scheme of the classroom and the way of behaving in them for some learning scenarios that would make flow the horizontal and two-way communication that we wanted. Morphologically, the CIP is different, but much more in the teaching praxis. This morphology allows freedom, horizontal communication, synchronous and multidirectional language between students and teachers. One of our greatest successes is that no one perceives the CIB as monotonous or full of routines. So, we designed different learning scenarios that enable different learning formats. The demonstration sessions are intended to bring the student closer to real practice of any kind, whether to show a product, a technology, or a procedure. Participatory sessions are normally in dynamic classrooms, where students sitting in a circle with the teacher attend a class where dialogue is more important than monologue. Workshops are sessions that, through a practical team exercise, acquire learning. They are usually done in the active classroom and sometimes outside the CIB. The experiential sessions are held outside the CIB, where students attend didactic sessions through a real experience in farms, orchards, restaurants, industries, producer workshops, etc. The practical sessions is where students perform practical exercises in the kitchen, and they are free of presenting their culinary proposal based on the three parameters with which they acquire knowledge: product, technology, and context. The error is welcome. The autonomous activity of the students take place in CIB workrooms or in their homes. Outclass TV are those sessions in which, through technology, they allow the students to access the school from anywhere in the world where they have internet connection. It allows us to connect with the students at a distance, either individually or collectively, with other educational centers, or with teachers located on other side of the world. And always as a team. Learning to work as a team using humility, generosity, and intelligence is part of the learning that CIB students appreciate most. We do it with the same tools, demonstrating their effectiveness, and for this, we prepare them in various aspects that range from the essence of collaboration, feedback, effective communication, directed communication, decision-making, and of course, leadership based on trust. At the CIB, aligned with this vision, we have it clear that assessment should be different. That's why all of our programs are evaluated through challenges. We discarded evaluating micro knowledge in order to focus on the macro and the application of the learnings, as it happens in the professional and real environments. Culinary schools value the students' ability to replicate and accurately know parameters and values through subjective indicators. At CIB, we know that professional success doesn't work this way, because kitchens are fundamentally teamwork. We judge the global results in the same way that is done in the company, and we reserve personal assessment for those cognitive and attitudinal abilities that make the individual different. It's a transversal and motivating evaluation that uses the challenge as an action framework for students to make their proposals for resolution. A challenge is cyclical, integrator, inherent to learning, systematic, dynamic, analytical, feedback, qualitative, developer, motivator, and we divide it in a series of phases or steps. Preparation is the preliminary phase in which the challenge is designed according to the objective of the subjects. Introduction is the second step. It's the phase in which the document that is given to the students is created and contains the instructions for the challenge, as well as the rubric and the objectives associated with it. Execution is the third phase, in which the students execute the challenge. It can last several days and ends with the presentation. Evaluation is the process in which the jury judges the students according exclusively to the objective of each subject. Feedback is the phase in which the jury or the tutor expresses the result and makes the pertinent observations to the student in order for him to interpret the exercise as an opportunity for improvement. The day of the presentation of each challenge is a milestone for the students. Curiously, and contrary to any conventional school, it becomes the favorite of all of them. The highlight is the presentation of the work done. The teachers are paying attention to the proposals of each group, and some of them have been present during all their preparation. In these presentations, the students of later promotions attend actively as witnesses, turning this feedback into something very positive for them, because 4 months later they will occupy the position of the evaluated. In addition, students must submit a report where all the learnings of the process are reflected. The research is documented, knowledge is developed, and the specifications of the proposal are arced and detailed. Finally, they include their conclusions and difficulties that have arisen during the process. Okay, very quickly, we have presented our vision to the question, how should school be? This is a real vision that we are right now experiencing here at the CIB, and this is based in a methodology or a foundations not specific for cooking schools. The kitchen is the context here in which we are applying this methodology, but it's thought and designed to be adapted to any other context. We are constantly testing and improving, and our look to the future is to eliminate subject as a knowledge containers, to have a wider technology integration through hybrid environments, use the data management and analytics to improve the learning experience, and to greater the flexibility of channels and content formats that allow students to expand the diversity of learning experiences. We will be happy to receive you and talk more slowly. Thank you very much for your attention.